Good morning. Myself Dr. M. Anuradha from CSE Department of SA Engineering College. We are going to see about the concept of cache memory in the computer architecture. So what is meant by the cache memory? The cache memory is a very high speed memory. What is the use of the cache memory in sense? It is used to reduce the average time to access data from the main memory. Normally, the processor, it will be referring the content from the primary memory. But when comes to the speed of the processor, the primary memory speed somewhat low. And hence, in order to enhance the performance of the processor, we are having a small memory referred as cache memory in between the primary memory and CPU. So, the cache memory stores copies of the data that are available in the primary memory. So here we are going to copy the content from the primary memory to the cache memory. In the sense, we are using the various mapping techniques. The mapping technique is referred as the process of transferring the data from main memory to cache memory. So we are using the formula N equal to I. So by using that, we are going to copy the particular block from the main memory to the cache memory. Here, the K, that is referred as the block number in the main memory, whereas this N is referred as the total number of blocks in cache, and I is the cache memory line number where we are going to copy the content. So by using the K root N equal to I, we are going to copy the particular content from the main memory to the cache memory. If suppose in the K, that is in main memory, we are having totally 1000 pages. And here in N, that is in the cache memory, we are having only 10 blocks. So how we are going to copy the content, that is from main memory to the cache memory. For example, if you want to copy the content 10 means 10 more 10. So that is equal to 0. So the corresponding content is copied into 0. If suppose we want to copy the content 11 from the K memory, that is main memory, so 11 more 10. So that is equal to 1. We are going to copy in the first block. So likewise, we are going to do the copying of the content from the main memory to the cache memory. So this is what referred to as direct mapping. So in the direct mapping, we are going to use the tag, line option and the word option. Next one is the associative mapping. Associative mapping is used to store the content and address of the word. Here, it enables the placement of the word at any place. Here, it is going to copy down the content where we are having the free location in the cache memory, and hence it is referred as the associative memory, and hence it is faster for accessing and also will be having the flexibility. For example, we are going to have in main memory we are having 1000 pages, whereas for the cache memory we are having 10 blocks. So how we are going to copy the content? For example, in the cache memory, that is in the main memory, if we want to copy the 100th page, so whereas we are having a free location, either it will copy into the first location or else in the second location, it is going to go through what are the free pages you are having, it is copied on here, and hence it is referred as the fastest as well as most flexible one. Here, the associative cache controller, it interrupts the CPU generated request as tag plus word offset. Next, we are going to see about the set associative mapping. That is, we are going to combine the direct mapping concept as well as the associative mapping. Here what is meant by that set is, we are going to divide the cache memory into sets, and then we are going to transfer the content from the main memory to the cache memory in either one of the sets here. So how we are going to map here is, here the mapping function is given as k move is equal to I. Here that k is referred as the main memory block number, whereas s is referred as the number of cache sets and I is the cache memory set number. So here the set associative mapping from the CPU, the words are transferred to cache, from the cache the blocks are transferred using the memory management. And here we are going to see the tag, set offset and the word offset. So this is the diagrammatic representation for the main memory as well as the cache memory. Here we are having the cache control logic, and this one is referred as the main memory pages, and how the cache control logic, it is going to transfer the content from the main memory to the cache memory. So the cache memory we are going to have the memory as set. So representing the address, for the main memory we are using tag and word offset, whereas for the cache memory we are using tag, line offset and the word offset. So let us, they have given the question as 8-way set associative cache of bytes 64 kilobytes is used in a system with 32-bit address. Here the address is subdivided into tag, index and block offset. So what is the number of bits in the tag? They have asked here. So the cache size is 64 kilobytes. This 64 kilobytes is converted into 2 power n. Whereas we are having the memory capacity, it has to be represented as 2 power n. This n decides the number of bits used for the address, and hence we have calculated that is 64 kilobytes, that is represented as 2 power 16 bytes. Here 1 byte is equal to 1024 words. Similarly, 1 kilobyte equal to 1024 bytes, and hence we have converted this 64 kilobytes as 2 power 60 bytes here, and hence as well as this is a 8-way set associative memory. So per set you will be having 8 blocks. So that 8 is represented as 2 power 3. So 3 is the extra bits that are needed for representing the address here. Totally here this 64 kilobytes we are having 16 bytes, and for the 8 we are having 3 bytes. So that's why the number of bit representation is given as 16 plus 3, that is equal to 19 bits. And hence the answer for this question is here the number of bits in the tag is represented as 19 bits. Next, division of the following facilitates transfer of bulk data from hard disk to main memory with the highest throughput. Here they have given the options as programmed I/O transfer, polling based I/O transfer, interrupt driven I/O transfer, and then DMA based I/O transfer. So what is the best thing? Which one is having the highest throughput here? So for example, here in the programmed I/O CPU, for each and every transfer, it is going to use the commands. By means of using the instructions, it is going to do the transfer, and hence more CPU time is wasted here. And the next one is interrupt driven I/O. So by means of using the interrupts, it is going to transfer the data here. So here also we are going to use the CPU and hence it transfers the data to memory as per the means of using the INTERRUPT concept. And hence it is also not efficient, that is, here also we are not going to get the maximum throughput. And next one is the polling based I/O. In polling based I/O, here the I/O devices continuously poll by asking whether it needs CPU or not in order to do the data transfer. So here also we are not going to get the maximum throughput. And the next one is the DMA based I/O data transfer. In the DMA based I/O transfer, we are not going to involve the CPU. DMA is referred as direct memory access. So without involving the processor, here the direct memory access controller, it is going to do the data transfer between the memory and the I/O devices. And hence here we are going to get the maximum throughput here. Hence for this question, the answer is DMA based I/O data transfer, which will be having the highest throughput. And then next one, we are having the computer system with a 2 kilobyte of direct mass cache block with a block size of 64 bytes. And the system has a physical address space of 64 kilobytes and a word length of 16 bits. So, in the execution of the program, we are having 4 data words, that is P, Q, R and S. These are accessed 10 times. So, while accessing, how many number of misses, what are the misses we are going to get? Here they are assuming the data cache is initially empty and no other data words are accessed by the program. So, the address of the first byte of P is given as 0 into 8248, whereas the address of Q byte is given here and R is given here, whereas S is given here. So, for the execution of this program, which of the following statements are true with respect to the data cache? So, let us see how it is going to transfer the data. So, the cache memory size is given as 2 kilobytes and the main memory size is given as 64 kilobytes, whereas the block size is recorded as 64 bytes. So, here we are going to represent here is the number of lines is equal to cache memory size divided by block size. So, the cache memory size is given as 2 kilobytes and hence that is equal to 2 kilobytes, whereas the block size is given as 64 kilobytes and here so divided by 64. This 2 kilobyte is represented in the form of 2 power n. So, that is 2 power 11, whereas 64 that is represented as 2 power n, that is equal to 2 power 6. So, 11 by 2 power 6. So, this 11 minus 6 will be getting 2 power 5. So, this is a representation of the tag, number of lines and the word offset. Since total we are having the 16 bits for the main memory, here the tag bit is used for 5 bits and the number of lines is recorded as 5 bits, whereas word offset is given as 6 bits here. So, the first data P, next one is Q, then R and then S. So, these data we have represented in the binary form. So, here this P data is given as A248. This A248 is converted into the binary form. This A value is recorded as 10 and hence it is converted as 1010 and this 2 is represented as 0010, 4 is represented as 0100, then 8 is represented as 1000. So, likewise each and every data is converted into this binary form. Here, this first 5 bit, it is recorded as the tag bit. This one is used for the block number. Here, for the P as well as S, we are having the same block. See, 10100 and here 10100. Whereas these two are belonging to the same block. So, now we are going to see about how many times, that is, when we are going to get the miss and when we are going to get the hit. So here, while accessing P, we are not having the data and it is recorded as miss. That's what mentioned as M. So whenever there is a miss in the cache, that data has to be transferred to the cache memory from the primary. So when this occurs for the P, we are going to copy down the content of the data. That block is copied in cache. And while accessing the queue, it is also occurred as miss as well as or. When comparing the S, why it is recorded as hit means this P and S, they are built in the same block. So once we transfer the content of P to the cache, S data is also available, and hence whenever we are accessing for the S data, it will be getting as hit only. That's what here they have given the option as every access of S is hit. That is one of the options. So whenever the P is brought into the cache, it is not evicted. Evicted in the sense it is not removed from the cache. And hence this is also, since we are frequently accessing the data P, here this P is not evicted. So once P is brought to the cache, it is never evicted. Whereas every access to R, it will be evicting the Q from the cache. And hence, so the answer for this question is, what are the various options that are true here is, every access to S is a hit. That we have seen that whenever we are going to plot P, the data, since S is in the same block of P, here always S is referred as a hit. And then at the end of the execution, only R and S reside in the cache. This is not the option. This one is wrong one. And once P is brought to the cache, it is never evicted. This one is also true. Whereas every access to R evicts Q from cache. This is also true here. So the answers are every access to S is a hit A, C and D. Thank you.